to get to today. A pivotal Thursday night NFL matchup. College football conference championships start on Saturday, plus a busy 10-game NBA slate. And then on top of all of that, we're going to have a ton of fun prop and futures bets. Yes, warm up those hands. They are all available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So along with our betting experts that are right here in studio with me, we also have sports analytics specialist Ed Eross joining us from Dallas. Hi, Ed. Check out his podcast. It's called Hazard Play, and new episodes release every Thursday on iTunes and the Vocal app. And we're going to dive into all the games on the schedule in just a second. But first, a reminder to download the free, you heard me correctly, FanDuel Sportsbook app right now. You'll be able to see the lines that we're talking about on the show, and you can place your bets in real time on the app. So sign up for your account using the promo code MOREWAYS25, and you'll get a free $25 bet plus a risk-free bet up to $500 inside credit. So go do that right now. And we're going to get started here. Let's go right into our Thursday night contest between the Cowboys and the Bears. Both teams are 6-6, and Chicago's won 2 straight after losing 5 of their previous 6, while Dallas has lost 2 in a row. So Thursday night football hasn't been kind to either of these teams. The Cowboys are just 4-9 against the spread in their last 13 games on Thursday night. The Bears are 2-8 in their last 10 Thursday games. So something's got to give here, guys. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Dallas is giving 2.5 points on the road in Chicago. Did they get this line right?
I'll tell you what, Danny. First of all, the Cowboys burned a lot of tickets up last week over Thanksgiving, including a couple of mine. I did not expect them to lose to Buffalo. They just have so much talent. I feel like we've been saying this week after week when we talk about the Cowboys. Are they going to finally get it right? And I look at these two offenses, Dave, and I feel like both are struggling offenses, but I actually still trust more in Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott. I trust more in the Cowboys than I do in the Bears right now. So I like the Cowboys to bounce back in this spot.
I got a out of Dave. The Cowboys offense ranks first in the NFL, but they've only been able to put up 24 points combined over the last 2 weeks compared to their previous 4, where they averaged over 33 points a game. So do you see this offense continuing to sputter against the Bears defense?
I'm not a believer like Mark is. They've just been underachieving. So they're 6-6. The Bears are 6-6, but the Bears are kind of more quietly got to 500.
Right.
People still think they're not very good. But what did Mitch Trubisky do last year? He swept all of December, won every single game. The Bears won 8 straight. I kind of see them getting hot right now. And this is supposed to be in the high 30s come Thursday night in Chicago. So I like to look up the weather stats, right? So the Bears.
Weather and umpires.
Yeah, they're in baseball. I love the umps. The Bears, 39 degrees or less, which is supposed to be about 38 at kickoff. The last 9 games, 8-1 against the spread.
Wow.
And the one game that they didn't cover was Matt Barkley, the beach bum from Newport Beach.
Hey.
Threw 5 interceptions. Of course,
right there.
he wasn't going to play well in a cold temperature, so they had an excuse for losing that one. So I just think that this game favors the Bears.
Okay, well, Ed, maybe you can settle this for us, right? What are the metrics telling you this week?
Well, for weeks I've talked about Dak Prescott playing like one of the top quarterbacks in football, like being #1 in completion percentage over expected, coupled with EPA per play. What we're learning is that he's probably due for a little bit of regression to the mean, and it may not be any fault of his own. Against the Patriots, I blame the weather and conservative play calling. Against the Bills, his total QBR was 13th among all quarterbacks in the NFL that week. But his fumble problems came back. He had 4 sacks that I think were largely his fault because he was hanging on to the football too long. Maybe you could call those secondary sacks. But in a situation like this, I'm actually expecting a close game in large part because of the weather and the conservative play calling. And when it's close, I want points, and I think Chicago covers here.
Well, I want to switch gears to the total, which is set at 43 points. But Ed, don't go away, because Dallas has gone under the total in their last 2 games, while the Bears have gone under in 5 of their last 6. So, Ed, I'm going to stick with you here. Are you going over or under?
I'm going to go under here. Wind doesn't look to be too disastrous here, but it will be cold. Any cold weather games for Dak. Granted, it is a small sample size, but Dak has just not performed as well outdoors in cold environments. Still, though, it's hard not to look at what happened in New England and not the Cowboys. They just don't know how to prepare for different kinds of weather conditions. And, yeah, they're going outside for practices this week. Great. It's not as cold here as it is up in the Windy City. Plus, I think it also means they run Zeke a good bit more. And so I don't think the Cowboys are going to be doing very much to try and score a bunch of points. And Mitch Trubisky, well, that offense has been disastrous all year long. I don't think they're going to do their part, so I'm going to take the under.
Okay, well, Mark, total set at 43. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to mark that tape because I don't think I've ever heard Ed talk like that about the Dallas Cowboys. In the time that I've been here, I look at this game going under as well. Dave mentioned the weather and how it's going to be frigid conditions. Both of these teams really like to establish the run with their backs in order to set up opportunities to take shots, get out onto the perimeter. So, Dave, I think that they're going to be extended long drives. When you run the ball, the clock continues to tick away. I think under 43 is pretty safe here.
Well, I'll point out that these two teams, the last 6 times the Bears and the Cowboys have played, you'd be surprised. It's actually gone over.
Really?
So I'll be the contrarian. I'll take the over. Mitch Trubisky can turn the TVs back on. He's playing good. Nobody can criticize him the way he's played of late. I think they're going to score some points.
You better have us on right now.
That's right.
You better have us on right now, Mitch. What's up?
What's up, Mitch? All right, well, there is a ton of fun prop bets for this game as well on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So let's talk about some of the more popular ones that are listed. And, Mark, I'm going to start with you here. The Cowboys' first half total touchdowns scored. If you want to go over 1 touchdown, you're looking at a minus 164, while under 1 touchdown is plus 128. Does Dallas get it going right away?
I think there's no question they get 1 touchdown in the first half. Given what happened over Thanksgiving, remember a couple of red zone picks for Dak. They also had a couple of missed field goals when they were down there in the red zone to score. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort to make sure they punch one in. They punch one in, you're at least good for a push. They get a second one, you're obviously winning some dough.
All right, Dave, let's stay in the first half in this game and take a look at the spread here. Chicago is getting a point at minus 110, and Dallas is giving one also minus 110.
I like being able to get that point. If you head into halftime tied, you're a winner. So give me Chicago. I actually think they will have the lead, but even if it's tied, we're in good shape.
All right, Ed, I've got a really interesting one for you, okay? Both teams to score 1 or more touchdowns in each half. If you're thinking yes, that's giving you plus 245 odds. And if you're thinking a defensive struggle and no, those odds are at minus 340. And don't forget, defensive touchdowns do count in this one.
Thank you for giving me the complicated one. I'm actually going to go with yes here because of the payout. So hear me out. I'm going to hedge my bet, as it were, because I think this game is going to go under. But if both teams score a touchdown in each half, you could still hit the unders. Say you add 1 more field goal, then you're up to 31 points, I believe, still way under the 43. So I'm going to go with yes because I like the large payout, even though I'm going the under total for the entire game.
And I hate to tell you, but if you have a title like analytics expert, you get the harder prop bets.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, I mean, you should just expect that. But you've got more football previews coming up here in about 15 minutes. But we're going to take a look at some of the best matchups of the weekend and give you our game picks. And you can check out those lines for those games and more on the free FanDuel Sportsbook app, and even get free money to make your first bet. Who doesn't love free money, right? Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up for an account using the promo code MOREWAYS25. You'll get a risk-free bet up to $500 in site credit and an additional $25 free bet. So make sure to sign up for a FanDuel account using the promo code MOREWAYS25 and take advantage of this awesome promotion. And on top of making bets on the free FanDuel Sportsbook app, you can also play daily fantasy and win cash, much like Mark is doing and winning in his leagues. And all you got to do is log on to FanDuel.com, check out the fantasy games available for the Cowboys-Bears matchup, and just set your lineup, and you got a shot to win. And it's as easy as that. We're going to give you all the inside information so you don't have to do all the work, right? So joining me now is fantasy expert Jim Sanis, and he's done the research so you don't have to. Jim's going to give us a player from each salary tier that we should get in our lineups. Jim, it's been a while since I've gotten to talk to you. I'm excited to have you on, of course. Who's on your list this week?
Yeah, good to talk to you too, Danny. It's been lonely without you here, so glad to have you back. Absolutely. And I think that when you're looking at this game, it's really hard not to go with Dak Prescott because I think that he has the highest floor and the highest ceiling of any player in this game. He's only $15,500. That's not too bad for a guy with his rushing abilities. Dak tends to run more in the red zone, which is good from a fantasy perspective. And yeah, it's been disappointing for the Cowboys this year, but they're still the second best passing offense once you adjust for schedule based on on Number Fire's metrics, so I still want Dak Prescott in this game. I also love Allen Robinson at $14,000 for the Chicago Bears. He has 26% of the team's targets since Mitchell Trubisky came back from his first injury, and he's had double-digit targets in 3 of those 7 games. A really good number. He had 12 last week with Taylor Gabriel being out. If you want to save him a bit, Anthony Miller is definitely an option too at 10.5, but if I can get to Robinson, I want to do so. On the Cowboys side, I want to go back to Michael Gallup. He hasn't had the best role of late, but he's pretty cheap at $11,000. Since Randall Cobb came back from his injury, Gallup still has 19.7% of the team's total targets. We could see Akeem Hicks return for the Bears in this game, which could encourage the Cowboys to pass a bit more, which would be great for Michael Gallup at $11,000. As far as a value play, I think that it really depends on how you see this game going. If you think the Bears win, David Montgomery is intriguing, but with the Cowboys being the team I expect to emerge, I like Tariq Cohen here at $9,000. He has 18% of the Bears' targets for the full year, and they're super banged up at wide receiver. That has led to an increased role for Tariq Cohen recently, so I think he makes a lot of sense. If you see the Bears winning this game, then Cohen does not make sense, but I think the Cowboys are going to win. Therefore, I like Tariq Cohen as a value play at $9,000.
Awesome stuff, Jim. Appreciate you. If you guys want more of Jim's information on his podcast, it's called Heat Check Fantasy Podcast, and it's available every Monday and Thursday on Number Fire Daily Fantasy Podcast feed. Thanks so much, Jim. Mark, were you paying attention there? I hope you were.
Of course I was paying attention right there. I wanted to make sure I take all the notes.
Do you have any of those guys on your team?
No, but I'm hitting the waiver wire as soon as we are done. Right
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, let's turn our attention now to the association. We've got a jam-packed NBA schedule with 10 games in all tonight, and we've got you covered. Dave, Mark, we're going to get your picks for this one first. The Heat that continue their road trip in Boston. Miami is coming off a road win last night in Toronto and is now 14-5-1 against the spread this season. That's the best in the NBA. The Celtics could get a much-needed boost as Kemba Walker is probable after a return, missing the last 4 games with that neck strain. So the road team in this series is surprisingly 9-2 in the last 11 matchups against the spread. Miami is getting 6 points in this one. Dave, do you see this trend continuing?
I don't. Here's the trend I see continuing. You mentioned they won last night. Well, they're playing a back-to-back. They've had 3 back-to-backs so far this year, and in those games, they've lost by 7, 15, and 27. It's just too much to ask for these guys to play good again tonight. I think they'll get blown out. I like Boston.
I'll add another layer onto that too, Dave, and I think the fact of the matter is they played in overtime to get the win in Toronto last night. They get in late in the game to play against the Boston Celtics. Boston is a very good defensive team, probably top 5 in the NBA right now. So you look at that, they're going to put the clamps down on Jimmy Butler and make it tough, make other guys on the Heat try and beat Boston tonight, and that just won't happen. You add Kemba Walker coming back into the fold and that possibility, that gives that crowd a little bit of a lift. It's a tough place to go and win against Boston. That's why they're 7-0 at home.
Awesome stuff. Okay, well, heading south now to Atlanta, the Hawks are looking to build off a blowout win versus Golden State on Monday. That snapped a 10-game losing streak. And while Brooklyn continues to try and stay afloat without their star free agent acquisition leading scorer Kyrie Irving, who will miss his 10th straight game. Dave, the banged-up Nets are 3-point favorites on the road in Atlanta. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, yeah, Atlanta did win against Golden State. Everybody beats Golden State this year. But
crazy, right?
The bottom line is the Nets are actually good when they play losing teams. Atlanta's one of the bottom 6 in the division, or actually in the Eastern Conference. So here are the 5 teams that the Nets have beat recently. The Cavs, the Knicks, Sacramento, Charlotte, Bulls, all bottom teams, and Atlanta completes that 6-pack as one of the worst teams in the East. So I think Brooklyn gets the job done. I'll lay the 3 points.
Ed, I want you to get in on this action too, okay? So here it is for you. The Hawks are 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 versus Atlantic Division opponents. Does that trend continue tonight in Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta does have the 2nd lowest offensive rating in basketball, but Kyrie Irving's not there. And I think in large part the reason why Brooklyn was winning so many games, Dave, you touched upon it. The schedule was fairly weak, but I think now that this game plan has been figured out. And then, of course, Atlanta has Trae Young shooting close to 46% from the floor, more than 8 assists a game. I like the extra juice here at plus 124, and I think Atlanta can win this game outright.
All right, great stuff, Ed. All right, and we're going to move on now to OKC, where the Pacers take on the Thunder. The Pacers have been one of the NBA's biggest surprises this year. They started 0-3, but are 13-4 since. Mark, the Thunder have played better as of late, winning 3 out of 4, but are just 1-7 against teams with a winning record. And OKC is giving a point against the Pacers tonight. So how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, this is a puzzling line, really, when you look at it. And I say that, Danny, because when these two teams played almost exactly a month ago in Indianapolis, the Pacers won by 20-plus points in that game. So now all of a sudden they're coming in as an underdog in this game. They're getting a point from the Thunder. I think OKC is a team that is still trying to figure out their identity. Obviously, they lost their 2 stars over the summer. They also lost a couple of key role players in the mix there. Billy Donovan does a great job coaching them up, and they've turned their identity to be more defensive than in scoring at the other end. But I think the Pacers are in a great spot right here, winning 6 of their last 7. I can't see them not winning the game tonight.
Ed, what do you think?
I can see the Pacers not winning tonight. I think OKC can get this done. And don't look now, but the offense right now for the Thunder, it's in the middle of the pack. Danilo Gallinari, team's leading scorer. SGA, if you don't know about him, look him up. He's been fantastic. Indiana, roughly the same offensive production level. It's just that the Pacers are just winning more games, but I think that starts to bounce back. OKC's also at home here. I like the Thunder.
All right, well, we're going to finish here with the Western Conference leading Lakers at the Utah Jazz. LA is 18-3, tied for the best record in the league. Their only road loss came on opening night against the Clippers, and they've yet to lose outside the state of California. So, meanwhile, Utah has enjoyed playing in front of their home crowd as well, going 8-1 in Salt Lake City to start the year. The Lakers are 2.5-point underdogs tonight. So, Dave, do you like this line?
I don't actually like either side in this game.
Okay.
You're getting some points with the Lakers. They'd be a decent team to consider. I like the total. I'm going to focus on the under. Utah plays such great defense at home. The Lakers themselves have gone under in 6 straight games. So although you think high-scoring affair when you got LeBron involved, actually defense has been what the Lakers have been playing well. So I'm going to key on the under here, under the 210.
All right, Mark.
209.5.
Normally, I would be right in line with you right here, Dave, but covering the NBA for the last 8 or 9 years, this is one of the toughest back-to-backs that these guys can go through. Last night, a win in Denver. Then you hop on the plane, you make the short trip over to Utah, but again playing at altitude against a Jazz team that is 8-1 at home, and they're trying to recover after losing 4 out of 5 games on a recent road trip. I think this is a spot where the Jazz can get right in this game. It's a lot to ask of the body to win in Denver last night in altitude. And remember, this is also their 3rd game in the last 4 days after they lost at home on Sunday to the Dallas Mavericks. I like the spot here for the Jazz, and 3 isn't a big number.
All right, great stuff, guys. So let's shift our attention now from the pros to the college ranks, where the ACC Big Ten Challenge got started on Monday, and there's no shortage of high-profile matchups tonight. So let's start with the defending national champion, Virginia Cavaliers, taking on Purdue, because Virginia is currently ranked 5th and is off to a 7-0 start for the 4th straight year. Purdue is coming off an overtime loss to another ACC school, Florida State, and Purdue is favored by 1.5 tonight. So, Dave, which side are you taking?
Similar to what I just said about the Lakers game, I would take Purdue if I had to take a side, but you don't have to take a side. You could also play the total, and it's so low, right? 103.5. But guess what? These are two teams that value every single possession. You know, they don't turn the ball over. This is one of those games, guys, that I think could be like 23-19 at halftime. It is going to be a crawl fest throughout the 40 minutes. I like the under, even though that is a scary number, right? Just barely over triple digits.
Mark?
I always have a tough time with an over-under like this, Dave, because you're saying this is going to be like a 40-45 game. But I agree with you. It will be low scoring. But this is the first time the defending national champs Virginia find themselves getting points in a game this year. Prior to that, the lowest spread they had faced was being a 3-point favorite earlier in the season. I look at Purdue, and all they have been able to do in terms of quality opponents is they beat Marquette, or excuse me, they lost to Marquette, they lost to Texas, and they also lost to Florida State. When they match up against a quality team, I don't think Purdue has the horses to get it done. So if you're Virginia and you're getting the points, you got to take them.
Ed, jump in on this one.
Well, I think part of the issue, too, is, it is very early in the season, so schedules are very different from one team to the next. Virginia does come in 3rd in Ken Palm rankings, Purdue 13th, not far behind, really, despite the record hovering around 500 with close quality defeats. Cavaliers continue owning the #1 defense in all of basketball. Boilermakers, they're not far behind, but to me the difference is Jahad Proctor, Matt Harms. I think that combo will keep it close, and I think Purdue will barely edge the 1.5.
I'm covering an undefeated team tonight, guys, San Diego State, but it's just not as cool or as high profile as these ones that we're covering. Because another great matchup that we have coming up here is two red-hot programs that are starting the year, Notre Dame and Maryland. The 8-0 Terps are the number 3 team in the country and are coming off their biggest win of the year, beating Marquette by 21 points. The Fighting Irish are streaking as well, winning 6 straight after falling to North Carolina in their season opener. Ed, I'm coming to you first here. The Maryland is favored by 9.5 points tonight, so who is winning this one?
Well, Virginia does get a tough draw. Maryland gets a much easier one. Terps have a top 10 KenPom ranking, in part because of an easy non-conference schedule. But Notre Dame's is even easier, and they're still not too potent offensively. Anthony Cowan and company, they're in great shape. Terps can foul John Mooney enough just to get him to go to the line where I think his free throw shooting percentage is less than 50. So it's hack-a-Mooney, as it were. I think Maryland covers easily.
Mark?
I agree with you. I think it's a big number, but Maryland should be able to cover it. They have the ability to blow teams out when they come up against a quality opponent. Just ask Marquette. That spread was 3.5, and they blew them out by 21. You look at Notre Dame, and I think, Danny, you just mentioned the loss against UNC early in the season, and then they've reeled off a bunch of wins since that time. Well, the fact of the matter is, as Ed was just alluding to, they haven't played anybody in those wins so far. So it is a big number, but I will take giving the points here.
Dave?
Well, you guys are forgetting Notre Dame scored 91 points in their last game against Fairleigh Dickinson. Yeah. But you know when Notre Dame's last game was? A week ago yesterday, last Tuesday. That is amazing to have 8 days in between games. So they're going to have a little bit of rest. I'm with you guys. I think Maryland widens late and pulls away.
If you're worried that you said that wrong, Fairleigh Dickinson is correct.
I got it right. Okay.
Yeah, you got it right. Let's move on to the best game of the night, a matchup between number 6 Ohio State and number 7 North Carolina. UNC is 6-1 this year and have fared well historically versus Ohio State, winning 11 out of 12 meetings all time. The Buckeyes have yet to lose this season and are led by junior forward Caleb Wesson, who leads the team in scoring and rebounding. Tonight, the Buckeyes are a 3.5-point road dog in this one. Dave, I want to know your take for this game, but do remember one of the guys producing the show is wearing a UNC shirt and a pretty big fan.
And a hat as well.
Yeah, unbelievable. He went all out this morning.
So I'm going to go with the Tar Heels. And their freshman standout guard, Cole Anthony, averaging 24.9 points per 40 minutes. And by the way, the favorite in this matchup has covered the last 5 times. So I'll go with the favorite. I'll go with North Carolina.
You just want more FaceTime on this show. I understand. Mark?
I'm going to go against the producer and against Dave's pick, and I'm going to say take Ohio State on the money line right here. They are the second best defensive team in the nation right now, only behind Virginia. You might say, well, who have they beaten so far? What kind of tough competition have they played so far? Yes, it's been a little bit light, but just ask the Villanova Wildcats when they were ranked 10th just a couple of weeks ago, and then all of a sudden it was a huge win for Ohio State. They hang their hat on defense, limiting opponents to 33% shooting from the field. A little bit of analytics for you there, Ed. I like the Buckeyes.
This is basketball, not football, Mark. Save Ohio State for football.
Oh, my goodness. Ed, settle this.
Well, I'm going to be I'm going to make sure, because I'm in Dallas, that I can say whatever I want about Ohio State, what I can't say nicely about North Carolina, because nobody can do anything to me this far away. No, Buckeyes are 4th in KenPom's second best defense in America, like you guys said. North Carolina, I've got some real concerns with them right now. Yeah, they're 12th in KenPom, but they seem really, really young, and they seem to be deficient in some key offensive spots. Youth may be showing a little bit too much. I think the Buckeyes can win outright.
All right, great stuff. Let's go now to this point in the season, because we have yet to have a team solidify themselves as the team to beat this year in the NCAA tournament. So with that in mind, it puts some juicy futures odds for the teams for the potential to cut down the nets in April. So let's see who the FanDuel Sportsbook has as an early season favorite to win the whole dang thing. Both Louisville and Michigan State pace the field at plus 900. Kentucky is plus 1,000. Duke is plus 1,100. And Kansas is plus 1,200. And there's some really great programs on this list. Pretty high odds. Some of them have lost some pretty significant games that everybody are still talking about, including myself. Shout out Nate Bain. Who are you seeing cutting down these nets?
Well, Michigan had all of the fanfare coming into this week, and then Louisville absolutely blast them, and so I love the Cardinals.
Dave?
I'm going to go with Michigan State. I had them early on. You know, they lost. They were, I believe, plus 800. Now you're getting a little bit better value, but too many seniors. They got a lot of experience come March. I think Michigan State's going to be very tough.
Mark?
Take the Jayhawks. They're not on the board, but you mentioned them, Danny. Plus 1,200. It was a tough season last year. They'll bounce back. I like the Jayhawks.
Awesome stuff. Great job, guys. All right, so plenty more to come on FanDuel's More Ways to Win. We're going to break down the biggest Week 14 games of the NFL season, including a rematch of last year's AFC title game. And we're going to give you college football's conference championship weekend, so we're going to give you our best bets. Make sure you download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use that promo code MOREWAYS25. And while you do that, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
I'm going on the app.
Yeah, do that. Download it now.
Right here. Oh.
Can you do that here?
Of course. Now I can bet the game on FanDuel Sportsbook anywhere in Pennsylvania. But is a pig allowed? You mean my service hog? As long as I rent her shoes.
FanDuel Sportsbook is now available everywhere in Pennsylvania. Join today and get a risk-free bet worth up to $500. Visit FanDuelSportsbook.com. FanDuel Sportsbook. More ways to win.
Sometimes a trip to the casino is not in the cards.
You have gas, there's tolls, there's traffic, there's parking. And what is a resort fee? I think everybody wants to know what a resort fee is. I'd rather just stay and play at home.
With Betfair Casino, you can play anywhere in New Jersey. No long drives, no hassle.
You just can't beat the convenience.
I've downloaded the app. It's fun, it's quick, I can play anywhere in New Jersey.
Playing on Betfair Casino, I save on tolls, I save on time. It's great.
With over 400 casino games, you could be playing your favorite games in 3 simple steps. Step 1. Sign up at BetfairCasino.com and get $10 free for joining. Step 2. Make your first deposit and we'll match it up to $2,500. Step 3. Join the thousands in New Jersey playing for real money online.
It doesn't matter, how much we're betting. It's just the excitement of it. The adrenaline starts to flow.
Join the fun today at BetfairCasino.com. Try it free.
Do you want to bet the next race and don't have a TVG account? Get the TVG mobile app and sign up. It's fun, easy, and it's TVG. I'll show you how it works. When you bet the horse that wins, you win money too. With the TVG app, select your horse, bet type, and wager amount. Place your bet and watch the race live. Download the app and sign up now, or go to TVG.com. Join now and get a risk-free bet up to $200. TVG, your best bet.
Here is a look inside the FanDuel Sportsbook at the Meadowlands. If you live in New Jersey or you're just visiting the area, make sure you check out the FanDuel Sportsbook. You can take advantage of the self-betting machines while enjoying watching games on hundreds of TVs. And you can instantly deposit or withdraw money from your online FanDuel account there. Plus, there are shuttles running to and from MetLife Stadium on game days. A great time to check it out. Dave's been there. It tells me all about it. Mark and I got to get out there at some point in time. But get this. A better bet $1 on 12 moneyline bets.
$1? How much can you make betting $1?
You ready for this? $10,000.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Underdog. Check it out.
Well, you wonder if he hedged too, right? If you got to a certain point and then you had the Texans left, say on was that Sunday night or Monday Night Football? Do you hedge because you're about to win 10 grand?
Unbelievable.
I never hedge. I'm a gambler.
That's true.
Let's
That's
go.
True. By the way, on that ticket, to be able to take the Dolphins, Redskins, and Bengals all to win.
The Dolphins?
That's what juices it up when you take dogs like that.
I really was sitting on my couch thinking, man, on our Sunday show, we didn't get a lot of these right. And then this guy comes in and makes 10 grand. Okay, well,
off of $1.
If you want to make $10,000, let's just take these guys' advice here, and we're going to take a look at some of the biggest matchups on Sunday's NFL slate. And so first, it's a battle for NFC supremacy as the 49ers travel to New Orleans to face the Saints. San Francisco was held under 20 points for just the second time all year, losing a nail-biter in Baltimore 20-17. And the Saints haven't looked back since their hiccup last month to Atlanta. They've won 3 straight and are averaging over 30 points a game during that span. So, Mark, the Saints are 2.5-point favorite at home. What are you thinking in this one?
Well, I'm thinking the Saints aren't going to lose another game at home like they did a couple of weeks ago when they hosted the Atlanta Falcons. You look at the Saints and the opportunity after playing on Thanksgiving now, Dave, they got a little extra time to rest, and it's the second straight week that you put San Francisco in a really tough spot. Yes, they're 10-2 on the season, but they were away to Baltimore last weekend, and now they have to go away again to travel and face the Saints down there in New Orleans. I think it's a really tough spot, and I like New Orleans here.
Dave?
What is the psyche right now of the 49ers when you have a team that has a 166-point differential that's 90 points higher than anybody else in the NFC? They've lost 2 games, both on a last-second field goal. I mean, here's a team that is a number 5 seed that's clearly played like they're the best team in the NFL, and now if they lose here, they're 9-3 just like that. But it is very tough to play, or actually 10-3, very tough to play the week following Baltimore. So I looked it up. The teams that went to Baltimore, playing at Baltimore, the very next week, 0-4 against the spread.
Really?
Yeah, the only team that won was New England, but they had a bye in between, so I'm not counting that because they had some time to rest. But you go to Baltimore, it's very tough to take that on the road in your next game. Very bad spot here for the 49ers. I like the Saints as well.
Danny, if you're keeping track at home, by the way, for Dave, that's umpires, the weather, and after they play Baltimore.
After they played Baltimore. That's fascinating, but this is why we got you guys on the show, because who would have looked that up? What a great trend. Trends don't lie, right?
I love it, Dave. I love it.
You guys are nerds here for a reason. I mean, Ed, like I said, is the analytics expert. Could you get much more of a nerd than that title, right, Ed? What's your take on this game?
Wow. Thanks, Danny. Merry Christmas to you, too.
I'm just
Drew Brees gets the second shortest time to throw in all of football. That's a good thing because the sooner you can throw it, you can either throw it away and avoid a sack or get a short completion, say to Michael Thomas. And I think that's going to nullify a really good pass defense in San Francisco. For the Niners, pass success rate is 9th. Receivers are making plays, but the Saints can contain them just enough with a more excellent offense. So I think the Saints can take care of this 2.5.
I'm just joking with you, Ed. You're just brilliant. Those students are lucky to have you as their professor. Let's move on now to upstate New York, where 2 of the biggest surprises of the season go head-to-head. And that's MVP frontrunner Lamar Jackson facing the current wild card leading Buffalo Bills. The Bills are coming off a statement win in Dallas, having now won 3 in a row, while the Ravens haven't felt the feeling of losing since September. Buffalo is getting 5.5 points at home. Mark, I'm going to start with you. What's your prediction for this one?
I think this is going to be a tough game, especially since the Ravens are coming off of that grinding win against the San Francisco 49ers. Very physical game. I see this as more of a 3-point game. So I actually think, by the way, you should probably wait a little closer to kickoff. I think the line might even tick up a little further and take Buffalo plus the points at home.
Please tell me, Dave, you've got something to do with the weather in your answer here.
No, I'm just going with the hot team here. I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Bills, even though they beat the Cowboys, and that was a good win for them, they're still only 6-6. The only winning team they beat is Tennessee Titans this year. I'm going with Lamar. Ride the hot team. Go with the Ravens.
Ed, your take? Oh, maybe we don't have Ed today. We don't have Ed for this game. We're going to move on. Lastly, let's take a look at the rematch of last year's AFC title game between the Chiefs and the Patriots. It's a battle of strength versus strength, right? The Chiefs have the 3rd highest scoring offense, putting up an average of 29 points a game, and the New England defense is giving up just 12 points a game, fewest in the league. And did I mention that the Patriots have won 21 straight at home? You cannot argue with that. They're 3-point favorites in this one, Mark.
The one thing I'm concerned about is how New England has looked the last 3 weeks, especially offensively. They just haven't looked like themselves. I always say, bet Brady, bet Belichick, especially as Danny just pointed out, when they're at home. But I think this is the possibility for an upset special. If Pat Mahomes and the offense do not turn the ball over, Kansas City can win this game. So I'm going to take the points in Kansas City here.
All right, great stuff. Dave, the Chiefs are 9-2-1 against the spread in their last 12 games as an underdog. So how do you see this one going?
It's just tough. You pointed out the 21-game winning streak at home.
Unbelievable.
18 regular season wins, 3 playoff wins. You just can't beat New England at home. I actually like Tom Brady and the Patriots. You look at what the Packers did when they beat the Chiefs. Aaron Jones, 159 yards receiving, not rushing, and that's James White's strength is to catch the ball in the backfield. Brady to White all day long.
Ed, I'm so glad that you're back because I'm curious to know what the metrics are telling you in this matchup. I was a little afraid that you left our show because I called you a nerd.
No, I'm still here, but nerds, I guess, can't talk about Ravens Bills. But they can talk Chiefs Patriots. And it's interesting because Pat Mahomes is second in EPA per play, but the success rate in the passing game is 8th. Somehow there's this major disparity, and it's in large part because the Chiefs don't go for it on 4th down very often. They do a lot of inefficient things like throw to their running backs. Meanwhile, the Patriots still have an elite passing defense that lost to the Texans because of trick plays and Tom Brady not playing as well. I think he will bounce back. I love the home team covering here.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. As you guys make your bets, I want you to try and keep in mind some of the players who are dealing with an injury because that is important as well. And joining us now is Dr. David Chow. He is the former head doctor for the Chargers, so he's in a very unique position to talk about some of the injuries that we're seeing this season. You can follow him on Twitter. His handle is @ProFootballDoc. He's got great information. Doc, thanks for joining us. We're going to start with tomorrow's Cowboys-Bears matchup. The Cowboys' star wideout, Amari Cooper, left last Thursday's game with a knee injury, but he was able to return, and he is expected to play if he does suit up. What type of impact should we expect from him on Thursday night?
I think he should be fine for Thursday. The bigger impact was literally on Thanksgiving Day, I had just sat down for dinner, and negotiated to have the TV on in the background, and then there's this fantastic flip. So I got up from the table and got the side eye from my wife a little bit. But that was just a contusion to the distal thigh. His foot wasn't trapped. With appropriate management, he'll be fine. And remember, he's got the full 7-day cycle, even though it's a Thursday game. And I don't expect any downside with Amari Cooper and that left knee.
Amari Cooper messing with your turkey and mashed potatoes. My goodness. I want to move on now to the other side of the ball in the matchup. Bears cornerback Prince Amukamara. He's dealing with a hamstring and is considered to be day-to-day. His status looks to be in doubt on such a short week. So what's the normal recovery time for an injury like this?
Well, you know, he has the same 7-day week as well because the Bears played on Thursday last on Thanksgiving. So the NFL actually has done a very smart thing with the matchup, taking away the short resting for a Thursday by pairing up two teams that played the previous Thursday. But I don't like hamstring injuries on cornerbacks. You got to remember, not only is it a quick, explosive position, but it's a position that you play where you don't know which direction you're going. You're reacting to the quarterback, you're reacting to the receivers and their routes, and that makes it very tough to play through a hamstring. So in our field view and our injury index, we're sort of grading him as like he's going to be out.
Okay, good information to know there. Let's flip the script now and get your thoughts on the Bears' passing offense versus the Cowboys' pass defense, because your injury index for this game grades Chicago's passing attack at a C+ and Dallas's pass defense at a B. So what are some of the key factors for these grades?
Well, the key factors for the grades are, you know, when you don't have your tackle, Bobby Massey, when you don't have some tight ends, when you have other injury issues along the line. And then on the defensive side for the Cowboys, Antoine Woods is out, and obviously Leighton Vander Esch is out. Those are two key absences for the Cowboys on the defensive side of the ball.
Dr. Chow has a bunch of great info at ProFootballDoc.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you guys check that out. And also remember to follow him on Twitter for more injury information. His handle is @ProFootballDoc. Thanks so much, Dr. Chow. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, so you heard what Dr. Chow had to say about the Thursday night game, including Amari Cooper and Prince Amukamara. So, Dave, does any of that information impact the way that you're going to bet that game?
No, I'm fine with who's on the field.
Right.
As long as Allen Robinson is healthy and playing, I love the Bears in this spot. Those injuries are not going to affect the way I'm playing this
Mark?
game.
Danny, I think it's actually really insightful when he talked about the injury for Amari Cooper, because you thought when you saw that flip and the hit that he took, you thought that it was more of an internal knee injury. So to hear the doctor say it's more of a contusion, and with the 7 weeks and proper care, he should be just fine. That's great news for the Cowboys.
Absolutely. Ed, what are your thoughts there?
Confirmation bias and me taking the under because the Chicago pass defense won't be there and the Cowboys will run Zeke a lot.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff from Dr. Chow. Okay, so take all of that football information and make a bet on the free FanDuel Sportsbook app. And we'll even give you a free $25 to place your first bet. So here's how you get the cash. You just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up for an account using the promo code MOREWAYS25, and you'll get a risk-free bet up to $500 in site credit and an additional $25 free bet. So make sure to sign up for a FanDuel account using the promo code, this is key here, MOREWAYS25. Now to the college game, and it's championship week, and there's no better place to start our football previews than with top-ranked Ohio State, right? OHIO. The Buckeyes square off with number 8 Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State had no problem handling the Badgers earlier this year, winning 38-7. So, Dave, what's your take on this rematch?
I see the same thing happening. Ohio State just steamrolls everybody. Justin Fields, 37 touchdowns. 1 interception. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Nice. Dobbins just runs through everybody. I can't see Wisconsin having the offensive output to match points here on the scoreboard. I'll just take the Buckeyes to rout them again.
And I think, Dave, another thing is that Ohio State had a little bit of a wake-up call a couple of weeks ago against Penn State, right? They got out to a pretty sizable lead, and then all of a sudden the Nittany Lions were able to find their way back into that game. And, of course, Ohio State did not cover in that one, Danny. It was 14.5 the last time these two teams played, and you just mentioned the score. Was it 38-7? Yep. Now it's just up to 16.5. I think you got to take the Buckeyes because they want to show they're number 1 in the country.
Right. They want to make a statement. Okay, I want to go from the current number 1 team this year to the team that finished number 1 a year ago, and that was Clemson, who's currently ranked 3rd, and they're going to take on number 23 Virginia in the ACC Championship. Trevor Lawrence and that Clemson offense have put up the 4th most points this year, but it's their defense leading the way, allowing just 9.7 points per game. That's the lowest in the country. Ed, I want to come to you first. The defending football champs are 28-point favorites over the defending basketball champions there. So do you see Clemson cruising as a big favorite?
Well, despite all of the departures along that defensive line from a year ago for Clemson, this defense may be just as good, perhaps even a little bit better. And what if we were right about Trevor Lawrence this whole time? It's just that he got off to a slow start, but now he's able to pick things back up. You look at the last several games for Clemson, those trends are bearing out. Defense is stout, offense is really, really stout, and even with a weak schedule, Virginia's offensive efficiency ranks 50th in America. I think Clemson can cover 28.
Mark?
I would agree with you here, Ed, and part of the reason is because Virginia coming off that huge win for them against Virginia Tech to get themselves into this game. This is a classic spot for a letdown. I love how Clemson's head coach Dabo Swinney continues to play the role of we're getting no respect, and his team has continued to go out and thrash teams. They've won the last 7 games by 30 points or more. That trend continues this weekend, and that means winning the spread, winning the game and covering the spread.
All right, good stuff, guys. I want to move on now to our second rematch of the weekend as number 7 Baylor looks to avenge their only loss of the season against number 6 Oklahoma. The Sooners overcame a 25-point deficit in that game, shutting the Bears out in the second half, and both teams are entering this Big 12 championship at 11-1, and the winner has an outside chance of making the football playoff. So a lot on the line here. Dave, can Jalen Hurts and Oklahoma cover as 8-point favorites?
It's a big number, and I believe they were favored somewhere similar to that when they played last time. But my problem with Baylor is, can they stop Oklahoma's fast pace? And Ed, I think we got to admit that Oklahoma is just going to run this really fast-tempoed offense against Baylor, who would prefer a team that's going to run and they're going to stuff them. But that's not what Oklahoma does. Jalen Hurts is going to have a big game.
Ed, you're just a couple hours outside Waco, so does Baylor have a shot?
I don't think Baylor has a shot here. In the first meeting, Oklahoma did have the distinct advantage of rallying in the second half to win in Waco. Since then, they were tested with a good TCU defense and won, then comfortably beat an in-state rival on the road. And it more than makes up for Baylor's performances against a slumping Texas team and a look ahead to next year Kansas squad. Oklahoma can win by at least 2 possessions.
Finally, let's jump to the SEC, shall we, for the SEC Championship, which features 2 top 5 teams. Number 4, Georgia, versus number 2, LSU. Georgia's defense comes in giving up just 9.8 points per game. That's second best in the country. Whew, is right. Joe Burrow has led LSU to 47.2 points per game, second most in the country. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Can LSU cover? They are 7-point favorites.
Well, this line has moved quite a bit. When it first opened, it was about 3.5, 4 points, and some steady steam on there, as we like to say, has pushed this line up now to a touchdown. So do you still want to be on LSU with the line moving that much? To me, I say yes, because that's sharp money that's getting on there. You want to follow the sharp money in this case. And I look at LSU and their offense. I just don't think Georgia's going to be able to keep up. I will take LSU giving 7.
Georgia's plus 225 on the money line, Dave. Do you think that they can pull off the upset?
I actually do. You know, Joe Burrow's getting all the hype here, but Jake Fromm, this is a guy, 34 wins as a quarterback. He has been phenomenal for Georgia, a great game manager. I think he's going to be able to keep them in the game into the fourth quarter. And, well, you know, one bounce of the ball the right way for Georgia, and they can pull off the upset.
Ed, you just seem to be in the right location at all times because you also grew up close to Baton Rouge. So how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think LSU's only played one really, really good defense all year long, and that was Auburn, and they scored 23 points, survived rather creative looks by Auburn. And per defensive efficiency, Georgia is actually a little bit better. So do not listen to the recency bias where they blasted Texas A&M and blasted Arkansas. LSU will struggle against a good Georgia defense. Not to mention, this game is played in Atlanta. The Bulldogs, they're only about an hour away, so it might even be sort of a home field advantage for the Dogs. I think this is an overcorrection here by the line, and I think Georgia can cover the +7.
Interesting stuff there. Thanks, Ed. We've run through the biggest games of the weekend, and now it's time to hear our experts pick for the national championship, right? Clemson may be number 3 in the rankings, but last year's champs are the current favorite to repeat this year at +140 to win all of it. And then Ohio State is right behind them at +165. And then you have LSU, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Ed, coming back to you here, Baylor is 200 to 1. Is it safe to write them off and just go with one of the favorites?
I would go with one of the favorites here. And I'm almost torn between Clemson and Ohio State here because Ohio State has been the most complete team from beginning to end. But I think Clemson is also, they also have the potential with Trevor Lawrence. He could lead an offense to being the best in all of football, at least playing and peaking at the right time. And we know defensively Clemson's always going to be there at the very end. And so I'm really torn between those two. I might put a little bit on both, really.
A little asterisk next to both of them. Dave, where's your head out here?
Well, apparently Dabo hasn't logged on to sportsbook.fanduel.com, Mark. If you say they're getting no respect, Clemson's the favorite, as they should be. They were a little sluggish earlier on in the year, but they are peaking at the right time. And let's not forget about the reigning ACC Player of the Year, and that is Travis Etienne. A little bit of a new dimension to him this year, too, as he's catching the ball out of the backfield. Last year, run, 6 straight games where he's had at least 20 yards receiving. The ACC Player of the Year, by the way, the last 3 of those, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and James Conner. You think he's in some pretty good company? I like Clemson.
Mark, you're a West Coaster. Actually, we both are. We both love the Pac-12. Are you going to go off the board with Utah or hopefully not the Ducks, but sticking maybe with one of the favorites?
No, I am going with one of the teams on that board right there, and I'm going with LSU. I've been on them all season long, so I'm not going to change my pick at this point.
Right.
Something in my head tells me that Joe Burrow and this LSU Tigers team are a team of destiny this year. Their offense is one of the best in the nation. I think defensively, they can make just enough plays to get it done. I like LSU.
Well, whether you like futures bets, game bets, or prop bets, it's all available on the free FanDuel Sportsbook app. And we'll even give you a $25 free bet to place your first one. Here's how to get the cash. All you got to do, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up for an account using the promo code MOREWAYS25, and you'll get a risk-free bet up to $500 in site credit and an additional $25 free bet. So make sure you sign up for a FanDuel account using the promo code MOREWAYS25 and go make some money, right? We got plenty more to come on FanDuel's More Ways to Win. We're going to recap our picks from Thursday night game between the Cowboys and the Bears. And stay with us for our best bets of the day. That's a segment you guys definitely don't want to miss. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Woo! Right here. Oh.
Can you do that here?
Of course. Now I can bet the game on FanDuel Sportsbook anywhere in Pennsylvania. But is a pig allowed? You mean my service hog? As long as I rent her shoes.
FanDuel Sportsbook is now available everywhere in Pennsylvania. Join today and get a risk-free bet worth up to $500. Visit FanDuelSportsbook.com. FanDuel Sportsbook, more ways to win.
Sometimes a trip to the casino is not in the cards.
You have gas, there's tolls, there's traffic, there's parking. And what is a resort fee? I think everybody wants to know what a resort fee is. I'd rather just stay and play at home.
With Betfair Casino, you can play anywhere in New Jersey. No long drives, no hassle.
You just can't beat the convenience.
I've downloaded the app. It's fun, it's quick, I can play anywhere in New Jersey.
Playing on Betfair Casino, I save on tolls, I save on time. It's great.
With over 400 casino games, you could be playing your favorite games in 3 simple steps. Step 1. Sign up at betfaircasino.com and get $10 free for joining. Step 2. Make your first deposit and we'll match it up to $2,500. Step 3. Join the thousands in New Jersey playing for real money online.
It doesn't matter, how much we're betting. It's just the excitement of it. The adrenaline starts to flow.
Join the fun today at betfaircasino.com. Try it free.
Do you want to bet the next race and don't have a TVG account? Get the TVG mobile app and sign up. It's fun, easy, and it's TVG. I'll show you how it works. When you bet the horse that wins, you win money too. With the TVG app, select your horse, bet type, and wager amount. Place your bet and watch the race live. Download the app and sign up now, or go to TVG.com. Join now and get a risk-free bet up to $200. TVG, your best bet.
A reminder to check out the FanDuel Sportsbook at the Meadowlands in New Jersey because it's a perfect spot to watch games. You can have some yummy food, enjoy the atmosphere, and of course, you can place bets there. And if you go on game day, there's going to be shuttles that run to and from MetLife Stadium, so it's a great time to check out the Sportsbook. Let's recap our Thursday night contest between the Cowboys and the Bears. Both teams are 6-6, and Chicago's won 2 straight after losing 5 of their previous 6. While Dallas is in a rough spot. They lost 2 in a row. So, Mark, I'm going to start with you here. Dallas is giving 2.5 points on the road in Chicago. Did they get this line right?
I think they did get the line right, but and I like Dallas on this side.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot lose 3 in a row. The heat is definitely under Jason Garrett right now. Jerry Jones has been taking a lot of flack. The offense has been taking a lot of flack. They got to bounce back here in this situation. They burned a lot of people with losing that game on Thanksgiving. This week they get it right, and it's not against a great opponent in the Bears.
Right. Dave, the Cowboys offense ranks first in the NFL, but they've only been able to put up 24 points combined over the last 2 weeks compared to their previous 4. They were averaging over 33 points a game. So do you see this offense continuing to just sputter against the Bears defense?
I do. You know, the vice grip is tightening, and Jason Garrett is feeling the heat. Well, look at him coach a game. And look at Sean Payton coach a game. Right. He's got his chart. He's talking into the headset. Jason Garrett just standing there watching the game. He's not making really any decisions for this team, whoever is. They haven't been good ones lately anyways. Dallas is, I think the pressure gets to them. And it's December in Chicago. They didn't lose a game last year in December. Give me the Bears.
Let me just say,
the Bears.
Danny, we know that there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Is that the old saying? Did I get it right there?
I'm like,
or how about
cat.
this? Yeah, there's different ways to prepare, different ways to coach. So Jason Garrett doesn't do it like Sean Payton. Yeah, that's okay.
That's fair, but
skin a cat.
Yeah.
That was the right. It's an old adage.
Old adage. Okay.
Well, guys, I don't think I've heard it, but I am 28, so.
You probably have.
Wow, we're going there.
I want to switch gears now to the total of this game because it's set at 43. Mark, will come back to you. Dallas has gone under the total in their last 2 games, while the Bears have gone under in their last 5 of 6.
Keep going with the under in it. This one going to play in some frigid conditions, probably temperatures in the high 30s. We talked about it a little earlier in the show. And these are 2 sputtering offenses, so it's a matter of which team is going to be able to make just enough plays to get over on the other. I think you got to go under 43. I would expect it to be under 40, in fact. So 43, you're taking it, and it's gravy.
Dave?
2 great receivers. You got Allen Robinson having a great year for Chicago. We heard from Dr. Chow. Cooper should be fine for the Cowboys. So I actually do see offense in this game. And the last 6 times these 2 teams have played, it's gone over every single time. So give me the over.
Guys, I want to channel our inner crystal balls here a little bit and get your pick on who's going to hoist the Lombardi Trophy this season. And we've got a new favorite in Baltimore Ravens at plus 240. Behind them are the Patriots at plus 400. And then next are the Niners at plus 800 and the Seahawks at plus 900. Dave, I'm going to start with you. Who do you like to win it all?
Not the Cleveland Browns. But
wow, finally.
Another team that, and it's all about the odds here. about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Seattle was plus 2,200. At that point, I like them. Now at plus 900, that's too low. But the team that was around 10-1 that's no longer on that board is the Green Bay Packers. Now I think it's the time to get Green Bay and get them at the value that they are, because they still have a very good chance of getting to the Super Bowl and winning.
Mark, who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
I love the Saints right there at plus 550. I think that's a great odds that you're getting on that one. And let's remember, the Saints are now built about defense. Drew Brees is managing the game. He's not just chucking it down the field all the time, although Mike Thomas, one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. They have the ground game with Kamara as well as Latavius Murray. Then you got Brees finding targets all over the field, and they do have a great defense. No one's talking about the Saints here, and look at the price you're getting.
And they have Sean Payton, who actually talks into his headset.
He just backed up your point there. What are you going to do? All right, let's head back to the hard one now, because we've got 6 more NBA games on the schedule for tonight, and we're going to run fast break offense. I'm going to put 24 seconds on the clock. Dave, Mark, I'm putting you on the spot. This is called a rapid fire analysis.
Okay.
So you can just run down and shoot a 3 right away. It's really up to you. I'm going to start with you, Mark, though. The Warriors at the Hornets. The Hornets are 3-point favorites tonight. Who are you taking in this one?
Well, last time these teams played, it was actually the Hornets winning by 6 about a month ago. Dave said earlier in the show that everybody beats the Golden State Warriors. I don't think so tonight. I like Golden State as a live dog in this one. They had a little diversion. Steve Kerr let some of the players go see Draymond Green get his jersey retired at Michigan State last night. The game didn't end well for the Spartans, but take the points here and go with the Warriors.
Dave, you're up next. Bucks. Oh, good job. Right before the buzzer. I didn't realize we had a buzzer. Bucks at Pistons. The Bucks are laying 8.5 points on the road tonight. Who are you taking? Do not get a shot clock violation.
No, I'll probably end with about 10 seconds left, as a matter of fact, because this is simple. Take the Milwaukee Bucks. Too much offense. 120.8 points a game. Detroit playing on a back-to-back. Milwaukee's more of a fresh team. Give me the Bucks.
Wow, nailed it. 10 seconds left on the clock. I just looked over to the side.
Speed to spare.
Mark, back to you. Suns at Magic. The Suns are favored by 1.5 with over-under at 215 points. Give me your pick.
This isn't your Steve Nash Phoenix Suns here where you chuck it up in 6 seconds or less. I'll take a little more time. And for that, Monty Williams, their coach now, has this team being loose. They're playing really well. Devin Booker is lighting it up, making a campaign to be an all-star in the NBA this year. Then you have Kelly Oubre, his first full season out there in Phoenix with the Suns. He's coming in with some late-game heroics. It's not a huge number. Take the Suns here. Orlando's pretty bad.
All right, Dave, do you need a timeout here? Are you good?
No, I'm the kind of guy that takes 4 timeouts into halftime with them. I don't even.
Oh, wow. Man, you are in shape. You've drawn the Grizzlies at the Bulls, all right? The Bulls are 6-point home favorites tonight. 6 points. So who you got?
That's too much. Most teams have an advantage being at home. Not so much for the Bulls. They've actually lost 2 straight at home. Give me 6 points. And the Memphis Grizzlies, I'll go with the underdog. No way the Bulls should be favored by 6 against anybody.
Mark, how about you? Do you need a water?
No, I don't need any water, but I will tell you what, Dave, we're going to have to go back because the shot clock, timeout, the shot clock didn't reset for your take right there. It was a little slow getting going.
The refs needed water is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Mark, you've got the Timberwolves traveling south to take on the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is a 4-point favorite tonight at home. Do you like this line?
I only need 15 seconds. Leave it there, guys. I'm going with Dallas. They're hot. They've won 3 straight. Luka Doncic is lighting it up to the tune of being an MVP in this league. Kristaps Porzingis, the second leading scorer. It's going to be a tough night for the opponent. Take the Mavs.
Whipped the ball around the arc.
Movement, ball movement.
Before that. Loved it. Dave, I'm going to end here with you. The Kings make the short trip to Portland, where they're a 3.5-point dog with the total set at 218.5 points. What stands out to you in this game?
What stands out to me is that the Kings have been a very reliable bet on the road. They're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 on the road. Getting points here. I like Sacramento.
Guys, you just nailed those fast break points. I love it. All right. Is right. We've got a couple minutes left in the show. So this is the part where we will give you the best bet of the day. So let's go around the horn here, get each of your thoughts. Mark, I'm going to start with you here. Give me your best bet and let me know why.
I only took 15 seconds to tell you about that game with Minnesota and the Dallas Mavericks going on tonight. I think it's a great spot here for the Mavericks. They have been hot, 8-2 in their last 10, the winners of 3 straight. I've seen this movie before. You look at Minnesota, yes, you have great stars in Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, and they can score, but they are very average defensively, especially at defending the three. You look at the Mavs, guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Nasri coming off the bench. They have a Steph Curry's brother, Seth Curry. They have a deep team, and it's not a big number. I love the Mavs here, -4.
See, that's why you had a short clock, was so that you could just, expand.
Flex a little bit in best bets.
Exactly, Dave. Who's your best bet?
I'm going to go with the under in the Virginia-Purdue game. Two very good defensive teams. They don't make mistakes on offense. They milk that shot clock where they're going to take it down under 5 seconds almost every single possession. Purdue's gone under in 4 straight at home. Virginia's gone under in 6 out of the last 7. Yes, it is a very low number, 103.5, but when they have maybe the high 30s or low 40s, when they get to halftime, you're going to have some points to spare late. Very low-scoring game. That's my best bet.
All right, I saw Lakers and Jazz there. You must.
He likes the under.
Both unders.
Parlay?
Two-team
parlay?
No points.
Man, let's make a lot of money here. Just take those picks that we give it to you. Make sure you download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use the promo code MOREWAYS25.